I'm Morgan.
I'm Bill, and this is the Birch and Birch podcast, and we have some people that we work with that we love, in Bonnie and Susie here. So if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about yourselves.
Just like a quick hi. Maybe just
Realty
say hi.
And
hi.
I hate that question in an interview, but so say whatever you want. It could be as short or long as you want.
Okay. I'm Bonnie Ramsey, and
I'm Susie Adamson.
Perfect.
And together we are Adamson Ramsey Homes.
Yes.
We've been a partnership for 2 years now, and with Hearth Realty Group, which is a boutique realty or boutique agency. We're
With
based out of
Right.
South Orange, New
Yeah.
Jersey. We serve a lot of towns in Essex County.
Yep.
And we came to this boutique brokerage from a much larger brokerage because we like to think outside the box. We liked the flexibility. We love our broker, and it's just been a really exciting 2 years.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So
Okay, well that was
And it's great to have
well
friends
done.
that are in different areas because you guys, we all have clients that we absolutely love, but sometimes we can't. They're not in our area,
Yeah.
and you don't feel comfortable trying to be an expert in some area that you're not an expert.
Absolutely.
So you need to have friends that you trust that you can hand your people off to because
Right.
you don't want anything bad to happen to them.
Right.
So that's how we met you two.
That's
And that's why we're here
right.
today. So we're in
Yes.
South Orange.
What area do you cover? So you're based out of South Orange, but what else? What other town, city is?
And what are you really
Right.
good at?
So we focus on Maplewood and South Orange, which are really one community, even though they're two towns. Millburn and Short Hills, which is one town. West Orange, Montclair, Glen Ridge, Bloomfield, and Livingston. Most of the
Okay.
commuter towns, the New York City commuter towns in Essex County.
So a lot of the people that you deal with when they come here, they're looking for proximity to the train.
Definitely.
right, they're thinking, I work in the city, I need to commute, but I'd like to buy a house and pay roughly what I'm paying in rent. Or I want my kids to have a yard, for example. So generally they look on the Midtown Direct train line, which encompasses those towns we just named. As you go further west, we do serve a little bit of, Summit. But as you go into Madison, Chatham, again, we have partners that we would then pass
it just
you
kind
on
of goes
to.
on to.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
we really want to be experts, and we want to share our expertise with our clients.
Yes.
So if we don't know where the best, local place to eat is, and how you get, or
doctors,
doctors,
yeah.
and we really
Yeah.
feel like we can't pass that information on to you,
Right.
then we'll just pass you on to another local expert. But the
Right.
towns we do serve, like we, for example, live in Maplewood and South Orange, so we are hyper experts because we are
Yeah.
hyper local, but we also utilize and use and know these surrounding towns
Right.
to us.
And we are
perfect.
finding that people are making the hop from sometimes Brooklyn and Manhattan to Hoboken and Jersey City, which is also part of why we wanted
Yeah,
to
like
partner with you guys
a
as
step-by-step
like a little
process.
baby step
Yeah.
toward the suburbs, and then they move into the suburbs because these particular areas are very urbane. And so people feel like it's a safe place to go in the suburbs.
It's still because it's still so accessible.
Yeah,
So
and
you don't
most
feel
of the
like you're
people in
losing.
these areas have moved from the New York City area, so
Yeah.
they're like-minded.
Right. There's like this.
Yes.
There's a movement. Like they love the city, and they want to be close to the city.
Right.
Then they want a lawn and a garage and a PTA
Right,
association. And
that is one of the other things that people like about these towns that we serve is that they're still kind of walkable. So of all the thousands of New Jersey towns there are, and it can be kind of overwhelming because there really are so many New Jersey towns and cities.
Right.
These particular towns that we service mostly have downtown areas, and so they're kind of walkable and they still have that
Meaning,
community
I got
feel. And so that's one of the hallmarks
And you
of
can
the
park.
towns that we and
you can park.
we
and
never
have a yard.
every time we come. Like today, we came to your office and we parked right across the street.
Right.
And we were very excited.
And you had a
about it.
sigh of relief. I was just telling Susie, I moved with my family 6 years ago from Brooklyn, and one of my favorite things about living out here is the accessibility to grocery shopping and parking.
Yeah.
So when we used to shop at Trader Joe's in Brooklyn, my husband would drive the car in circles while I shopped because there was nowhere to park. And then I would load out all my groceries. He'd somehow pull up to the curb. We'd quick load it up while everyone's honking at us. And then again, when we got back to our apartment in Brooklyn, he would have to somehow pull up. We'd unload while we had babies and kids. And then he'd have to go find a parking spot. The whole ordeal took like 3 hours.
Yeah.
And now if I want to run to Trader Joe's, it's a quick 5-minute down the road. You know, pull into the parking lot, run in, run out, home 20 minutes later. And, you know, you have a lot
Just
of
one
more
less
extra time on your hands.
Right. Everyday life is
Everyday life
easier,
is definitely much easier.
especially for a family.
Actually, a really big. I think some of the fears that I hear about people who are torn, they like the city because they feel like everything's convenient, but they want to move out, and they like the vision of having the house and the car and the yard.
Right.
But they're like, oh, but the time for commuting is so much, and that's what my big concern is.
Right.
But you do actually save a lot of time, because if you live in the city and you have an errand to run, it's very rare that the errand's actually just on your way home. It's often, okay, this could be an adventure of getting an Uber to get there and then Uber back, or if you have a car,
moving it.
And that is one of the things that we hear from people who buy out here is, the commute might be a little bit longer and it's a little bit more challenging, but it's well worth it because I'm getting so much more time with my kids on the weekends. I'm getting so much more time once I'm, looking for a grocery store or whatever. Everything else is easier, so it makes up for the balance of the commute time being a little bit different.
And that's not a thing that I think about very often either, because I'm in Hoboken myself, and don't drive unless I drive for work, and then everything else.
Right.
I'm usually walking.
You want to walk.
And most of the people around here are commuting into the city. So, this is an area that people come to specifically because of the proximity to the city. Most of these areas that we service, almost all of the towns, have direct trains into
Right. So from a social aspect, you're not moving to Egypt and then have to all of your friends are now new and they don't do the same thing. You may have new friends, but they're doing the same thing you are. They're still commuters, they still have great jobs.
And you can also keep your friends
you
around
keep
the
your friends.
city in addition to making new friends. I think people feel like we're so far away, but really we're not. So we often will meet friends for dinner in Manhattan who maybe are coming from Brooklyn, or we'll go to Jersey City and our friends from Manhattan might meet us in Jersey City, and then everyone only has like a 30-minute commute to meet up, which if you think about it, that's how far you travel anyway to meet friends for dinner, no matter where your friends are
that's
from.
Definitely true.
Well, on our way here today, we left the Hoboken waterfront.
Yeah.
And we were here in
30 minutes, 32.
Less than that, probably.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because we reduced the time because of the traffic.
Yeah.
The lack of traffic.
To add also, just in talking about cars and stuff, is that a lot of people are afraid that they're going to move to the suburbs and they're just going to be in their car all the time, driving everywhere. And I would say what's different about the towns we serve is that that's not the case. So I walk into town all the time to grab a coffee. My kids walk to the middle school and then they'll go to Starbucks and hang out with their friends or grab a slice of pizza. And it is kind of that urbane suburb. And then they walk home. And so there still is that feeling of we live in this
it's kind of the best of both worlds. You get
situation.
Like the small town feel and that you want in the suburbs, but you still have much of the urban conveniences. So it's great.
Yeah.
They're both fruits. One's apples, one's oranges. That's right. It's a little bit different.
Which one do you want today?
If you don't mind me going a little off track.
I love it.
So if maybe you can think in your mind about a past client that moved from the a little further east, Hoboken, Jersey City, West New York, somewhere like that, and they moved here. Can you think of a client and what they moved into and what they moved from and what those price points are and what the differences were between those?
Yeah, I mean...
So if I were, like, somebody's listening to this and they happen to think, well, I wonder what that would be like. What's my life change?
Yeah.
Let's say that they're in $1 million condo right now and they live at 77 Hudson or at 9 on the Hudson. And they're thinking, we want that suburban. We want to get out west a little bit. And their place is going to sell for about $1 million. What are they going to get here for that amount of money?
Okay, so they own, you're saying.
They own.
And they're going to sell $1 million apartment.
Right.
Well, tell us real quick what $1 million apartment what does that look like to you? Square footage, bedrooms, bathrooms?
2,000 square feet, 2 to 3 bedrooms, 2 to 3 bathrooms.
Okay.
Maybe has a nice view. Maybe has a view, maybe not. Depends.
At $1 million with a view?
And maybe depends on which building you're in. If it's new construction, not so much. If
I
it's
can
older
tell
stuff,
you.
think about Galaxy Towers, for example.
Well.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. So if you're going up north, I was
West.
thinking in Jersey City. What?
I'm just one.
What view?
So I can give you a specific example.
I think the key is that if you're at $1 million price point,
Right.
I chose that number because it's easy to
Yeah.
do
Million,
math and
yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
interpolate where
And
you're
that's-
at.
Yeah, like a Galaxy Towers area.
Yeah,
So
but-
you definitely get more than a 2-bedroom for $1 million out here,
Yeah.
depending on which town. So because we serve a lot of different towns, $1 million in Montclair gets you one thing versus in South Orange versus further west out in Short Hills.
Summit, right.
Or Summit.
But I can tell you that our closest friends moved from Hoboken. They sold a 2-bedroom apartment in one of the newer developments, so I think they sold it for $1 million or so. They had 3 kids in that 2-bedroom apartment,
Goodness.
and it was jam-packed with stuff. And they moved to a house in Short Hills, which is one of the more expensive areas in this, in what we serve. And they had I think 2,000 square foot house, 5 bedrooms, master bath, central air, finished basement, nice backyard, great school system. And they're very happy.
Yeah.
They kind of came kicking and screaming. We told them for years to move out here. It took them a long time. And they've been there for probably
And they
10
might have
years.
added 10 or 15 minutes to their commute.
Maybe. Yeah, they
Maybe.
live right near the train station in Short Hills,
Yeah.
right near their elementary school.
Perfect.
Walking distance from the high school, and they take
That's a really
yeah,
good example.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And even that's Short Hills, which is more, you get less for your money there than you might in another town. Like in Maplewood, for example.
Right.
You can buy $1 million house that's
3,000 square feet.
Yeah, 3,000 square feet, 5-minute walk to the train, big yard. You might even get a pool or, 2 or 3 car garage,
Right.
big fenced in backyard,
My
big
goodness.
finished basement for that same amount. You get less for your money the closer you are to the train because you're paying for that convenience.
Right.
But if you're willing to walk 12 minutes to the train or so, that's about a mile out, up to a mile out, 12 to 15 minute walk, then you can just get more and more for your money.
Yeah.
So what's the market like here now?
Yeah.
What's it feel like? I mean, here we're approaching the middle of December. Christmas is coming on. We've gone through
Yeah.
Thanksgiving. Usually it's pretty slow right now. We've been a little bit busier than normal. What about you two? What's everything
We have
feel like
5
here?
pending contracts right now, which is very busy
Wow,
for
that is
November,
very- yeah.
December. We're
Yeah.
very excited for all of our clients, and they're from 300,000 to $1 million. So we are working
$1 million
with
plus.
single
Super.
buyers and young couples and people who are moving from the city to be closer to their children and grandchildren.
Oh,
I mean,
right.
we've got the whole gamut, young families.
Just moved a family here from California.
Right.
Oh,
and
really?
Yeah.
we really urge buyers to look in the off season, where it's a little bit slower. Spring market typically around here starts at the end of February and goes until about July, I'd say, like
Yeah.
early July.
And that's really based on people
school
want
year.
the school year and
Right.
trying to move maybe in June, July, August. So they
Right,
start
right. So you
looking
wanna
in
close,
February. They want to close when their kids are out of school.
So
do
that's
the move
the
then.
frenzy of the market here. And in that season, you can expect any home that's move-in ready and in good condition in a good location that's priced right to go in the first weekend. And you're going to compete.
How long has that been true?
I've been in the business for about 6 or 7 years, and it's been true the whole time that I've been in business. So we're about
Price
to...
right though is the
price right,
Right,
absolutely.
Right.
And
Key
if
words there.
And most of the agents around here know how to price well, so we typically find that the homes do go, even if they're not priced right in the spring market, you're going to expect some competition. But in the summer months, maybe around August, and then right around the holidays now,
Yeah.
can be a great time to buy.
August and September are typically very slow. Then there's a little uptick in our fall market, we call it, and that's basically September, October. People who are trying to close maybe by Thanksgiving or so. Most people don't generally think, oh, I want to move in December, January when it's snowing, when it's
Right.
Christmas. However, there are people who still need to move. So there are homes on the market, and you can find a really great house with less competition. So there might be one or two.
And the sellers are probably feeling a little more motivated.
They're motivated.
Right.
They're moving for some reason. They're transferred, or they need to sell for one reason or another.
Right. We always say most people don't put their houses on the market in November or December unless they need to move.
Right.
So
we are feeling the market soften slightly. Over the last year, I'd say the spring was a little slower than it has been in years past,
and a little bit slower to get going.
Yeah,
Right, so
it usually
started
is starting in February, and this past year it was really March, even towards late March before the inventory really picked up.
Right.
We are seeing a little less competition than we're used to on a really beautiful house that we thought should have maybe 8 offers, or historically it might have had that many offers, might have 3, and maybe won't go 15% over asking. Instead, it only went maybe 7% over asking. So we're there's a lot of factors we think that play into that.
Yeah, and we're also finding that it's still a seller's market for the most part.
For you.
Okay.
For us, for most of the commuter towns.
Our area is totally different.
It's
right?
swapping.
Yeah.
So in our commuter towns, it's definitely still a seller's market for the most part for the homes that are priced right. But the buyers actually have a lot more power during the negotiations in the middle of the contract than we're finding was the case, 5 years ago, even 3 years ago. So they're pushing more.
Close on the back burner.
Right. So it's typically a 45-day closing period.
Is that happening during the home inspection
home
process?
inspections, right. So in the past, where there were 8 buyers, the sellers could say, well, we have a lot of backup offers.
Yeah,
so
and you're
have
lucky to get
yourself.
the house, so you better play
So
nice.
don't
now the sellers are like, we don't want to lose this deal, so we'll give you whatever you want, or a lot of what you're wanting. And buyers are feeling more brave
and
to
the
ask
buyers
for
are using
more.
that as a second opportunity to negotiate.
Yes, they really are, which is a really new territory over the last 6 months or so.
Yeah, it helps that we do so much business that we're seeing a lot of that, so we know how to coach our buyers on how far they can push and when they need to pull back a little bit, and we have great attorneys that we work with and great inspectors that we work with, so we know how to guide our buyers through the entire transaction.
So many people think that they can hire any attorney.
Yeah.
Please don't hire any attorney.
Or their lenders, we find that when people use the lenders that we recommend, it's just a smoother transaction all around, and
that's definitely true.
Because we work with sellers and buyers, we are really steeped in the process from both sides. So then that allows us to help our sellers better by saying, well, this is what the buyers are asking for now, this is what the buyers are looking for, and so we can really guide them in that process. And likewise with the buyers, we can guide them because we've done it so many times from the seller side. We know both perspectives, and we can share that and help our clients walk through it.
Because in the end, it's their decision.
That's
the awkward thing about doing what we do is we're advisors,
right?
But in the end,
it's their
they
choice.
make the decision.
Absolutely, and that actually has come up recently. Someone was like, "So you're advising me?" I said, "No, I'm giving you all the information you need so that you can make a good decision." Because we're careful not to say this is what you should do or this is what you have to do. We are here to equip you with all the information you need to make your decision for your family. With both buyers and sellers, we tell them all the time, this is a stressful process. There's nothing we can do to take away all of the stress. But to the extent that we can mitigate the stress, that's what we're here for. We're here to advise you so that you can price it right, market it right. For the buyers, we want to get a lot of intel up front. We do an exhaustive buyer consultation so that we spend as little time as possible dragging you out of the city or dragging you out of Hoboken and Jersey City with your little baby and looking at 100 homes. We are not interested in showing you 100 homes. We should be out here like 1 or 2, 3 times. We have clients who look maybe for a year, but typically if we really know what you're looking for, we preview homes.
We preview it,
every
and then
week.
select what's worth bringing you out for. We don't want to waste your time, and we don't want to waste our time, but we really take a lot of time up front with our clients.
And I've bought, so our family has bought and sold 7 times. So I know when we've had realtors who have literally shown us 100 homes. I've walked into homes and I've thought, if you had paid attention to what I wanted, you wouldn't have shown me this in the first place with my baby until, while they're... So we really try to take care to find you the right home at the right time for the right price in the least amount of time. We know everyone's time is valuable, including our own, and we don't want to spend a lot of time looking for homes that aren't right for you.
That was so helpful.
You hit that really well.
Yeah.
I'm
Perfect.
I'm sending this to people. Thank you for joining us.
Anyways, great having everybody. We're going to sign off.
Oh, yeah.
Cheers.
Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Shake and bake.
Happy holidays.